Hi, Charlotte. Good evening. Hi, Christine. Good morning. Good morning, Johnny. Good evening, Tony. Lovely to see all of you all. Eid Mubarak. And we'll, of course, wait for everybody to join us. I hope everyone's doing well. Good morning, Johnny. It's been a good week, right, for everybody, I hope. Some of us are, well, some people who have been working throughout are looking forward to the public holidays for Eid here in the UAE. And I think it's a long weekend in the US too, so some more time to ourselves with the family, and that's good. So good evening, Michelle. Oh, sorry, good morning for you. Sorry. So I've got quite a few from the morning zone, from the East Coast as well as the Pacific, I think, yes. So how has the week been for each one of you? It's been a good one for me. Busy. It was more of planning my month of June because I will be sharing a lot of Reiki training in the month of June. I'm starting off in the first week training in level 3 for people who have already trained with me in level 1 and 2. So level 3 is called the master level. And so that's where I will kickstart my June. And then I think by the third week, I'll have level 1 and 2. So anybody who's interested in learning Reiki, what I teach is angelic Reiki, or it's also called ascension Reiki, or angelic attunements of light. And so if you're interested in learning Reiki, it's a wonderful energy healing that you can bring into your everyday life and have a self-healing practice available to you with the energy in your hands. So if you feel you want to learn, do get in touch with me, and if you've never learned angelic Reiki, of course, then you have to start with level 1. Level 1 is for self-healing, level 2 is for extending the Reiki to others, and level 3 is master level. So if you feel you are interested in that, do send me a message. And I will be announcing next Sunday a very interesting meeting with a speaker for 6th of June, which is called the Seeds of Thought. So I will announce that next Sunday. And for today, it's the meditation is the 4 agreements and our identities. And I think most of us have read the book by Don Miguel Ruiz, and so it'll be interesting, and it'll be nice to have an interaction after the meditation as to how you have been applying that in your life already, and how it feels after today's meditation. What did you feel with that? So it'll be interesting to have that interaction at the end. I will give it I think it's 5 o'clock. I've not said hello to whoever has been joining us. So hi, Jeff. Hi, Gauri. AC, lovely to have you here also. Lita, hi. Hi, everybody. Actually, I'm just going to turn the music off for now, and then I'll restart it when we're doing the meditation. So, the 4 agreements and our identities. I think the people are still joining us, so I'll just wait a couple more minutes. Rachel, right, hi, great. And let me start by wishing everybody Eid Mubarak. May the beautiful energy of Eid bring lots of happiness, joy, peace, and good health to you and your loved ones. And I think after a beautiful spiritual month of the holy month of Ramadan, it's been a good reflective 1 month for everybody. So let's start. Let's talk about what we're going to discuss or achieve through today's meditation. So the 4 agreements, before I talk about that, the word agreement means accordance in opinion or feelings, whether it's a formal or an informal agreement. And from the time we are born, we are initiated into the framework of the world. Our family, the culture, society, everybody, well-meaning, jumps in to groom us to fit into that framework of the world. We are taught what is good and bad. We are taught what's right and wrong. We are, given an understanding of what we should believe in, how we should behave. In fact, even our name is not something that we choose. We are given, and some, of course, go ahead and change their name later on. But I mean, having said that, I truly believe that the name that we are given truly resonates with the core of our being, and so I completely honor that. But of course, we're not given the choice. We are named by our parents. So all these belief systems and everything that is kind of given to us or handed down to us, we start taking it on and adapting to that. And before you know, we kind of don't know a difference between what is my belief system and what the society has given me, or these belief systems that have been handed down to me. So it kind of starts pushing you or starts disconnecting you from your true self. This is called domestication of humans. And whether it's out of fear of punishment, or it is out of sheer fear of being rejected or not being good enough, or just feeling like I don't want to isolate myself if I don't want to follow the pack, like what is being believed, we start thinking that this is my belief system, this is who I am, this is my personality. Now, in today's meditation, we want to, of course, look at the 4 agreements, which, of course, has the origins from the Mexican Toltec Wisdom. And I will talk about each of those agreements through the meditation, so I'm not going to dwell on that now. But I want to share with you all a bit of a folklore of the Mexican Toltec Wisdom that says that 3,000 years back, there was a man who wanted to become a medicine man. And so in his process of learning how to become a medicine man, he had this soul-altering realization that we all are made up in the reflection of God. We all are light and stars, and all the humans are the stars there, and the light between the stars is also part of us. And he named them tonal, which is the stars, and he named it nagual, that means the light. And so with that excitement, with that realization, he wanted to share it with everybody. And so he started sharing his story of how he felt that everybody was made up of that light and star. And people around him said, well, you probably are made in the reflection of God and have the light and the beauty in you, but I don't think it's me. I don't think I have that, So that's the kind of experience he had. And that is probably what happens to each one of us. We do not believe that we are made up of that beautiful light and stars in the reflection of God. And we kind of get attached to the framework of the world that has been handed down to us, which sort of starts creating a cloud of smoke between us and the mirror that actually shows us the true self. Let's look at, perhaps you can look at the smoke as all these belief systems that have been ingrained in us. So for us to know and to truly emerge as an enlightened being and recognize who we truly are and what these thousands of agreements that I've made with the world, with the society, with the culture, are they truly my agreements, or is it because it's just been handed down to me? Knowing which are my agreements and which are not my agreements, and I can safely say this is not my belief system, this is not me, this is not who I am. To do that, we first have to know which are the agreements that are not mine, and of course we need to then bring in the new agreements that are in are close to who we truly are. Yeah. So in today's meditation, the first thing I'll do is I'll first explore each of those agreements, and then we will reflect and replace the old agreements with the new agreements in our 7 identities. And that's why I call this meditation the 4 agreements and our identities. So which are the 7 identities? It's the physical identity, emotional identity, it is the ego identity. When I say the ego identity, I don't mean negative in any negative way. It's who we truly are. Our self-respect, our self-esteem and everything makes up the core of who we are, our confidence in ourselves. The social identity, the creative identity, the archetypal identity, which means the reflection, the classic representation of you in the fabric of life. That is called the archetypal identity. And finally, the universal identity. So we're going to place these the 4 agreements as per the Toltec Wisdom into our 7 identities. If you want to explore the 7 identities in a little more depth, I have, like I've said, I've kind of shared this already, and I've already had a meditation workshop called Universe Within, in which I explore the 7 identities based on the 7 chakras. So if you feel you want to have a deep dive into understanding those things, then we need to have that as a separate. It can't be a Facebook Live because it's a 2-hour meditation workshop. So if you feel you want to experience that, get in touch with me and we can always organize another date for it. So if there are no questions, then let's dive right into understanding the 4 agreements and placing them into our 7 identities. Okay, so I'm going to start the music. I'm going to change the angle of the camera, and of course there's just one slight change that I've made in today's meditation. Generally I pick up cards for guidance at the end of the meditation. Today I will be picking up guidance from a beautiful box that I have by Don Miguel. It's called the Voice of Knowledge, again based on the Toltec Wisdom. And so with each identity, I will pick up a guidance from this box and share it. So it'll be part of the meditation today, not at the end. And I would love to have that interaction at the end with each one of you as to how you, what was your perspective on the 4 agreements and how these ones fit into your 7 identities. So let's begin, and I hope you enjoy it. I'm going to change the angle of the camera, and I'll see you all in a short while. I hope the music is audible. I've just played it, so just give it a few seconds for it to reach you. I hope the music is quite audible. Just somebody send me a thumbs up just so that I know. Get comfortable. Whether you're doing this meditation seated or lying down, that is entirely your choice. Just get very comfortable. Adjust your body. And start to connect with your breath. Connecting with your breath helps you feel your presence, your existence. Just the focus on the breath helps you to calm your body and your mind. And as you continue experiencing your inhalation and exhalation, allow your mind's eye to follow the journey of your breath. with your mind's eye, as if you're observing how the breath enters your nostrils, moves down to your throat, then to the upper chest, lower chest, through the solar plexus, the navel, and filling up the belly, expanding the belly, and possibly for some flowing further down. And then very naturally, it makes a return journey from the belly, through the navel and solar plexus, releasing from the lower chest, the upper chest, your throat, and finally leaving your body through the nostrils. Just observe the entire journey of your breath. Nostrils, throat, upper chest, lower chest, through the solar plexus, the navel, filling up the belly and expanding the belly and possibly flowing further down. And making a return journey through the belly, the navel, solar plexus, lower chest, upper chest, throat, and finally leaving your body through the nostrils, completely transformed. It's transformed in its rhythm. Just observe the rhythm in the inhalation and the exhalation. Observe the transformation in the temperature. There's a transformation in what it does for your body too. The inhalation brings fresh energy, vibrancy, fire. And when it leaves, it takes away unwanted, old, stagnant energy, bringing calmness with it. Keep repeating and observing the journey of your inhalation and exhalation. And notice how it tends to make you feel calm and centered. Just the sheer observation brings calmness and centeredness in the present moment. With this feeling of being centered, send yourself strength of integrity and gratitude for the honest review you will be carrying out for yourself today. You can choose to continue with this journey or return to your natural breath. As you take in a brief understanding of the 4 agreements, acknowledging them, but try not to personalize the understanding just yet. You can personalize it later on when we're doing the identities. Right now, just take in the understanding of the 4 agreements. The first agreement. Be impeccable with your word. The word impeccable comes from the Latin word impeccabilis, to be sinless, to be flawless, immaculate. This first agreement asks us to be impeccable with our words, flawless and sinless with our words. This is the agreement on which all the other agreements rest. Abiding by this first agreement alone can change your life. Be impeccable with your word. When you are impeccable with your word, you say only what you mean. You speak with integrity. You stop your internal negative self-talk and refrain from gossiping. It is said, your mind is like a garden. Your thoughts are the seeds. You can grow flowers or you can grow weeds. Your thoughts that eventually get manifested into words can plant goodness, love, or fear. Your words have the power to create or destroy. They bring harmony or discord. If we choose words that are meaningful, honest, uplifting, and supportive, we set the foundation of love, kindness, compassion, encouragement, faith, and integrity. Intentional or unintentional choice of words have a deep, lasting effect that goes beyond what we can even perceive. Be impeccable with your word. A tough agreement to make, perhaps, but much to be gained from. The second agreement, don't take anything personally. The second agreement sounds deceptively simple. Don't take anything personally. But so many of us are sensitive and defensive, primed to ward off the negativity that we perceive is being aimed at us. But as we begin to adopt the first agreement, be impeccable with the word, we become more mindful. We become happier, more peaceful, and more self-assured. And when we are mindful, happier, peaceful, and self-assured, taking on the second agreement, don't take anything personally, becomes easier. We need to consistently remind ourselves that nothing they think about you is really about you. It's really about them. If someone gets offensive with you, they are dealing with their own issues. When you accept it, you on some level are agreeing with them. We have to remind ourselves that everyone sees the world with different eyes. Their reality is different from ours. Everyone's truth is their own. Don't take anything personally. The second agreement. The third agreement. Don't make assumptions. Making assumptions is like filling in the blank when we don't even know the whole sentence. More often than not, we have no idea what is really going on in a situation. We fill in the blanks in our minds without enough information. And then we are pretty convinced we know what's going on. Leading to mistaken beliefs and then acting on these mistakes will cause more disharmony and judgment. Don't make assumptions. A tough agreement to follow because we make assumptions so often. And making assumptions comes so naturally to us. We are usually pretty impressed with our own insight, and we think and are convinced that our assumptions are true. And perhaps we are fearful of asking, because asking makes us vulnerable. The fear of vulnerability makes us make assumptions on what we see life as, which directly contradicts the second agreement. Don't take anything personally. If you don't communicate with someone else about how each of us is feeling or seeing the world, you create misunderstandings. Assumptions are particularly dangerous in relationships. In relationships, we have to be clear in communicating what we want, because no one else knows what we are thinking, how we are seeing, what we are experiencing. The fourth agreement. Always do your best. A simple agreement that allows the other three agreements to become more deeply ingrained and effective. After all, the first three agreements can truly work only if you do your best. When you know you're doing your best, it frees you from the guilt and shame. You know you have given your best effort, no matter what the circumstances or the situation. Your best isn't a constant. It will vary. You have to acknowledge and honor that at times you're fresh and vital. And there are times when you're tired. Sometimes you're healthy. And sometimes you're unwell. Your best is the best you can do under your current circumstances. If you keep judging your best, then you are negating the first 3 agreements. You are depleting consistently your personal energy. However, doing less than your best leaves you with guilt and regret. Always remember, when you're giving your best, you're taking action without expecting a reward. The reward will come, but that is not your end goal. You strive consistently and enjoy performing at the peak of your ability. When you do that, you are more productive, you feel motivated, you're kinder to yourself, you're happier and free of guilt or regrets and shame. You're free of all that. And you set yourself free from perfectionism. The author Don Miguel Ruiz personally defines doing his best as a ritual. It needs to be consistent but gentle. Let's take in this information of all the 4 agreements, and let us embark on a self-reflection of the 4 agreements in our identities. Gently take your attention to your very first identity, your physical identity. With your mind's eye, scan your body from the tips of the toes to the crown a few times. With your mind's eye, keep scanning your body from the tips of the toes to the crown. And make a mental note of 4 words that first come to your mind about your physical body. What are the 4 words that come to your mind about your physical body? How do you interact with the world around you with your physical body? which part of your domestication agreements that you have been born into influence your assumptions of your physical body. What are the assumptions you're making of your physical body by the influence of the old agreements that have been handed down to you? Can you identify which domestication agreements you wish to replace with the 4 new agreements? Be impeccable with your word. Positive and supportive words to honor your body. Don't take anything personally. Self-confidence in your physical ability. Confidence in the healing power of your physical body. Confidence in what your physical body can do for you. Don't make assumptions. Listen to the intelligence of your physical body. Your body has a higher intelligence, and it speaks to you through this higher intelligence. Always do your best. Consistent and sincere effort is a reflection of the standards you set for yourself. Your body is the temple of your soul. Consistent and sincere effort is a reflection of the standards you set for yourself. The wisdom of the Toltec card supports you in laying the new agreements in your physical identity. The guidance is: the way to transform what you believe about yourself is to unlearn what you have learned. When you unlearn, your faith returns to you. Your personal power increases. And you can invest your faith in new beliefs. Allow your old agreements to be replaced with new agreements, with new belief systems. So you have personal power. Feeling firmly rooted and confident in your physical identity, let us move up to our next identity, the emotional identity. Make a mental note of 4 words that first come to your mind about your emotional body, about your emotions. What comes first to your mind? How do you interact with the world around you with your emotions? Which part of your domestication agreements, your old agreements, influence your assumptions of your emotions? Can you identify which domestication agreements in your emotional body that you carry presently you wish to replace with the 4 new agreements? Be impeccable with your word. Authentic communication of your emotions with yourself and others. When you communicate with authenticity to yourself and others, you can be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. Your emotions stem from your reality, not from others. Their judgment of you is not your reality. Don't make assumptions. It's safe for you to speak. It is safe for you to ask. And it is safe for you to listen. Speak, ask, and listen. Allow yourself to speak, ask, and listen. Always do your best. Kindness and compassion towards self and towards others helps you to do your best. Kindness and compassion first towards yourself and others helps you to do your best. The Toltec Wisdom guidance that supports you in laying of the new agreements in your emotional identity is: the truth is perceived with our feelings. When we try to describe the truth with words, we distort it and it's no longer truth. It's our story. The story may be true for us, but that doesn't mean it is true for anyone else. Before you say the words or give words to your emotions, check in to see in your emotional body what are the feelings that are emerging. Don't get caught up in the story. Be mindful of other people's story. Feeling stable and secure in your emotional identity, we move up to the next identity, the ego identity. Who you are, who you truly are. Your ego identity is your self-esteem, self-respect. Make a mental note of 4 words that first come to your mind about your ego identity, who you truly are, your self-respect, your self-esteem. How do you interact with the world around you with your ego? Which part of your domestication agreement influences your assumptions of your ego, of who you truly are? Which old agreements greatly influence how you see your true self? Can you identify which domestication agreements you wish to replace with the 4 new agreements? Be impeccable with your word. Speak words that are true. Speak words about yourself that are true. Don't take anything personally. Others don't know who you truly are. Your ego defines you for you. Don't make assumptions. Be confident in who you truly are, but be compassionate to others' ego too. Always do your best. Your ego helps you bring out the best in yourself, so you are a gift to the world. The Toltec Wisdom guidance that supports you in laying of new agreements in your ego identity, in who you truly are, is: the word is pure magic. The power of our word comes directly from God, and faith is the force that directs this power. Everything in our virtual reality is created with the word. We use the word for the creation of our story, to make sense out of everything we experience. Choose the impeccable word to describe your ego identity. The word that comes from God, from your faith. It creates not only your virtual reality, it creates your physical reality too. That word will create your story and will make sense of all the experiences that you have in your world. Feeling confident and self-assured in your ego identity, we move up to the next identity, the social identity. The social identity is key in keeping healthy relationships with yourself and others. Make a mental note of 4 words that first come to your mind about your social identity, your persona. How do you interact with the world around you with your social identity, your persona? Which part of your domestication agreements influence your assumptions of your persona? Can you identify which domestication agreements you wish to replace with the 4 new agreements? Be impeccable with your word. Each word exudes acceptance of all. Don't take anything personally. Every being has the right to be who they are. Don't make assumptions. With self-acceptance comes unconditional love for us and others. Always do your best. Empathy and unconditional love brings joy to all. The Toltec Wisdom card that supports us in the laying of new agreements in the social identity is: Heaven belongs to us because we are the children of heaven. The voice in our head doesn't belong to us. We aren't born with that voice. Thinking comes after we learn. First a language, then all of the judgment and lies. The voice of knowledge comes as we accumulate knowledge. Listen to your higher voice, the inner voice, not the voice that has been given to you through the domestication agreements. That is who you truly are and makes up of your social identity and your persona. Feeling the unconditional space of love and acceptance in your social identity, we move up to our next identity, the creative identity. The voice of your expression, your creative identity. Make a mental note of 4 words that describe yourself and your creative identity. How do you interact with the world around you with your creative expression? Which part of your domestication agreements influence your assumption of your creative talents? Can you identify which domestication agreements you wish to replace with the 4 new agreements? Be impeccable with your word. Authentic expression of your creativity. Don't take anything personally. Creativity feeds each one's soul. Don't make assumptions. Each one's creativity has its own language. Always do your best. Each being's contribution is valued. The Toltec Wisdom card that supports you in the laying of new agreements in your creative identity is: believing in the truth leads to goodness, love, and happiness. Believing in lies creates injustice, fear, and suffering, not only in the individual, but also in the society. Authentic expression of your creativity. Each one's contribution is valued. Each one's expression of their creativity has its own language. Feeling grateful for our creative identity, we move up to our next identity, the archetypal identity. The classic representation of yourself in the greater fabric of life. How do you perceive yourself in the greater fabric of life? Make a mental note of 4 words that first come to your mind about your archetypal identity. How do you interact with the world around you with your archetype? Which part of your domestication agreements influence your assumptions of your archetype? Can you identify which domestication agreements you wish to replace with the 4 new agreements? Be impeccable with your word. Each word carries the true essence of your being. Don't take anything personally. Everyone deserves respect. Don't make assumptions. Understand as to be understood. Always do your best. Awareness is the pathway to growth. The Toltec Wisdom card that supports you in the laying of new agreements in your archetypal identity is: lies blind our faith and lead us nowhere. When lies blind our faith, we fall into the illusion that we are separate from God, and we lose our power of creation. Real faith is having faith in life, faith in ourselves, faith for no reason. From this point of power, we can create whatever we want to create. Awareness is the pathway to growth. Be aware of your faith, of your truth. Feeling balanced and resourceful in your archetypal identity, we move up to the next most important identity, the universal identity. Make a mental note of 4 words that first come to your mind about your universal identity. How do you interact with the world around you with your universal identity? Which part of your domestication agreements influence your assumptions of your universal identity? Can you identify which domestication agreements you wish to replace with the 4 new agreements? Be impeccable with your word. The universe honors all living things. Don't make assumptions. The second agreement, don't take anything personally. Universe is large and you are an important part of it. Don't make assumptions. Universal truths can be perceived differently. The variety makes it more unique. Always do your best. There is abundance in the universe. The Toltec Wisdom card that supports you in laying the new agreements in your universal identity is: our emotions are real. The voice of knowledge that makes us suffer is not. Our suffering is true, but the reason why we suffer may not be true at all. The universal identity helps you to see the higher perspective of your suffering. The reason why there is suffering. Feeling empowered.
Hi everyone.
With the 4 agreements embedded within our core identities, we know that each agreement inspires us to be our true selves. Each day there is a commitment to live mindfully and authentically. With the next breath, make a resolve to honor each agreement to the best of your ability. Reconnect with the space where you started this reflective meditation. Reconnect with the space where you started this meditation. And take a nice deep breath in. And with the exhalation, very gently open your eyes. Feeling relaxed and better than before. Welcome back, everybody. How did that go for you? I hope everyone's feeling grounded, settled. I just thought I'll summarize everything with one last guidance card. I experience love by jumping into the ocean of love. Everything I do is a ritual of love. Walking, talking, working, playing. Just to be alive makes me intensely happy because I'm no longer thinking, I'm feeling. Thank you, Fiona, Maria, Jeff. How was the experience for each one of you, especially the ones who already have read the 4 agreements? How did it feel to let go of the old and replace them with the new agreements? Share with me the experience that you had. Thank you, Joni, Jeff, Maria, Fiona. Tell me which of the agreements is the most easy to adapt for you and which is the most difficult. I'll talk about my own. I think it would be something between the second and the third. Don't take anything personally. I think I can overcome that one easily. It's do not make assumptions. I have to process it. And fortunately, what I have created for myself is a practice when I have this whole drama of conversation going on in my head. I declutter it by sitting down in meditation. That's where I process it all and I'm able to then let go, whether it's a judgment to myself or whatever experience I've had. That's how I've kind of consistently worked towards allowing those 4 agreements to be a part of my life. The meditation aspect really helps me to declutter, let go of the drama, and separate my old agreements, my judgments on those things, and adapt this. So that's my, my ritual or my way of embedding the 4 agreements into my life. Do tell me, what is your experience? Which one does happen naturally for you? And which one is the tough one? Or how did you feel it going into your identity? So I'm just going to pause here until I can get, because I know people start putting in messages, but before it shows up in my feed, I have to give it a few seconds. So I'm just going to do that. Lita says, this was so beautiful. Thank you, Lita. Thank you always for your support and your feedback. Okay, so Jeff, you say it's the first, second, and last. Is it the toughest one that you find? The first, second, and last? I'm assuming that was my question. Yeah, so which one is the hardest? That's right. Okay, yeah, I know. I think one ties into the other, right? Like the explanation of the agreement said that if you have your first agreement in place, if you're impeccable with your word, then the other 2, 3 follow easily. And I think we probably consistently want to do our best, but then we get wrapped up in what is a domestication agreement that we have with the society, with family, with culture, with society, with everything around us, and then we find it hard to detach from it. So there is a constant. It's yes, it is. It's not like it's just done once and that's it, right? It's a reminder every single day, whether we are doing honoring our physical body, or whether we are honoring our emotional body, or whether we are honoring our ego, social, creative, archetypal, or universal identity. And the toughest, I think, in a way, would be the emotional and the ego identity and the social one. Okay, so Lita says the fourth is a challenge, especially to my physical identity. Right, so always doing your best. So I hope that the card that came up for that was, when you unlearn your faith returns to you, your personal power increases, and you can invest your faith in your new beliefs. So perhaps, Lita, you just want to, allow yourself to go back as to where the doing your best for your physical body started getting harder for you. Like, was it, in your younger days, in your teenage days or adulthood? When did it all start, where you felt like you were not trying hard enough? Perhaps you're just low on energy and you need to feed yourself, give yourself more rest, feed yourself better nutrition. Could it just be that you are not finding the energy to do your best at all times? So Joni shares, to be impeccable with my word is difficult at times, but so important. It can be a struggle, but basis for all else. Absolutely necessary for the overall good is being first, before we mention the word, we express the word, we have to think as to whether is it important to share it or not, and is it flawless? Is it going to bring value when we say something, which is a real tough one, right? And I also want to acknowledge my my uncle up there, Gul Uncle. Thank you so much for blessing me with your presence here at the meditation. Christine says, I try to be impeccable with my word, but my challenge is having to wrap it in layers and layers of kindness. Yeah, it's you might want to, well, okay, let me rephrase this. The impeccable word, of course, has to carry the honesty, but then, of course, we've learned diplomacy as one of the agreements we've made, the domestication agreements, and we are just used to diplomacy, each one of us. So what I keep in mind is that whoever I'm addressing with my impeccable word, where I'm being honest to myself and I'm also trying to be honest in my communication, especially if I feel the person I'm communicating with is still wrapped up in old agreements, so it depends on my relationship with that person, I might wrap it up in such a way that I make them see my point of view as to how I am feeling before I can tell them as to why I'm saying what I'm saying. So I first take responsibility for myself before I share it with somebody else. I think that's my process. Tony says, I think the one that needs constant attention is in being impeccable in word and thought with yourself. I think so too, yeah. If you're impeccable to yourself, your inner dialogue is true to who you are, when you express it, it will come with that intention that you're doing it not out of wanting to hurt somebody. It's not coming out of malice. It's not coming out of judgment. It's coming out of because you truly feel feel it, and you know you've given it your best because you've given it some thought before you've expressed it. You've not just come out of rage and just expressed what you're trying to say. You've given it some thought. And when you feel it's impeccable, that it's important to honor yourself and the situation, then you go out with the word. But you know you've really given it attention, and you've given it thought, and you've not just gone and reacted instantly. And I think that's where the impeccable word comes in. And sometimes the word doesn't have to be spoken; it's unspoken, right? A hug, just a hug that says, "I know what you're experiencing. I know what you're feeling, but I'm feeling this way too." And that kind of, I believe in setting the premise. First, work on yourself, and then express it to others. Yeah, that's how I think so. Thank you, Lita. Thank you always for the feedback. Helps because it helps to probably clarify the questions that might come up for us while and no one's perfect. None of us is perfect. We're all working and striving towards being the best that we can be, which is the challenge at most times. And I think this last one that I picked kind of summarizes, I experience love by jumping into the ocean of love. So if we believe there's an ocean of love around us rather than there's resistance or there is animosity around us, if we say, I know there's an ocean of love and I'm just going to dive into that ocean of love, our vibrations will automatically bring the right people and the right experiences into our life. And I also believe that whatever experience or whatever that so-called not so good conversations or experiences actually in a way are allowing us to peel the layers of lies that we probably have been carrying over such a long time. And so it's about just believing that there was something here. There was one of the cards that said suffering one, which was really nice. Our emotions are real. The voice of knowledge that makes us suffer is not. So we might be suffering, yes, but the voice that tells us why we are suffering is probably not the right one. Our suffering is true, but the reason why we suffer may not be true at all. And sitting, and that's what I mean by sitting in meditation and asking, if I'm agitated or if I'm angry or I'm sad or I'm frustrated, what has triggered that emotion in me? Do I want to straight away blame the outside story, what's going on in my life? Do I want to blame the person who I believe has caused it to me? Or do I want to see that this situation has actually helped me to get better skills in XYZ? I mean, I'm just not hypothetical, this is the truth. A year back, I kind of had it in my head that I want to do more work online. I want to share my message to a wider audience. So obviously I explored writing, do collaborative writing in a book, in 2 books rather. I've got, I kind of tried to summarize something that I had gained, the wisdom I had gained through my meditations and through my practice. I kind of wanted to present it in the chapters. And then I realized that one chapter is just not doing, what should I say, is not giving me the right platform. So I said, okay, I need to write my book. But then writing the book was just not happening. And then the desire to share my work online, well, look at the scenario that's come up. I'm not saying it's the ideal scenario, but it has pushed me to share more regularly. So I've, where I was finding it hard to pen down some meditations and share on my YouTube channel, this has given me a platform to do it. So yes, there is pain outside and yes, there's suffering, but what did I extract out of it is this. And Tony's correcting, I think, just giving me a little bit of a clarity on this. Yes, pain is real. Suffering is the story we attach to the pain. Absolutely. So we do feel sad and we do feel irritated and frustrated and angry, and we must honor that. But the story we attach to it is what we need to keep in mind and shift that story and make the story, look at it from a higher perspective. And that is what I define graceful reflection as, is finding spirituality in everyday experiences. So this has been a good sharing of the 4 agreements. Like we've all agreed, this is a consistent work that we have to do. It's a consistent effort in each and every layer of us. So I wish each one of you strength, courage, truthfulness to yourself first, being very honest with yourself, and that helps you to extend it outwards. So to each one of us, we need that everyday reminder. Remind yourself, what are the different activities that help you to be accountable and consistent? That is important. Is it going out for that walk, which perhaps is limited at this point in time? I'm sorry, I probably should not have given that example, but is it that meditation? Is it that little bit of sitting down and just focusing on your breath? Is it just having a cup of tea very mindfully, eating mindfully? Whatever works for you, journaling, praying is so powerful. Anything that works for you to be in line with your agreements that are true to you, so that you can emerge as an enlightened being, is your journey, and that is what you need to honor. So I've got lots of people messaging. Thank you, Charlotte. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Jeff. Yeah, thank you that it has, I'm glad it's helped a thought process, and that's what it should. That is my goal, that it leaves a message so that you can work on it through your life. And yes, I agree with you, Shalini. There is always room for there's always room for more self-improvement. Thank you so much. I will see you all next Sunday, same time, with another meditation. Thank you again for your support, for being here. Without your presence and your interaction, these sessions would not be that meaningful. So thank you. The recording will be here, so anyone who's joining me now can just listen into the meditation on the recording or on my YouTube channel. The link is all on my Facebook page. So thank you again. Have a wonderful evening. For the ones who are enjoying the Eid holidays, have a blissful, blessed, peaceful Eid. And take care. Bye-bye.